Hi, my name is Bruce Waller, and I'm going to share lessons I learned from a parking lot. I remember like it was yesterday. I had just been recruited to be the new operations manager for a national company in Dallas, Texas. And I was sitting in the conference room with our leadership team, and we were going over my role and my responsibilities. And some of the things were like, hey, you're going to need to hire, train, and motivate our moving crew so we can be the best moving company around. And also, one of the responsibilities is going to be being in charge of our facilities. And I said, oh, well, what does that entail? They said, well, you just need to keep the parking lot clean and keep our building maintained. If there's any problems that come up, just make sure that you get those taken care of. I said, hey, I can do that. It's not a problem at all. And our building, it was interesting. Our building was quite antiquated, a very old building. And in fact, it said on a parking lot was filled full of potholes. In fact, our employees would complain as they would drive into work to park about the potholes in the parking lot. So I said, hey, I'm going to add that to our list and I'll get that checked out. Well, one day Joe came in to my office and he introduced himself and said he was doing some work down the street at the Home Depot. They were laying asphalt, and he said, I think I'm going to have some extra asphalt, and I was wondering if you would like for me to fill in the potholes of your parking lot. I'll give it to you for a discount. And I was like, hey, you know what? That's sounds like a pretty good idea. What's that going to cost? He said, well, you know what? We can do it for $6 a cubic foot. I said, $6 a cubic foot? I don't even understand what that means. How much is that? Give me like, what would I need to budget? He said, well, Bruce, based on the potholes that you have, probably around $1,000. I said, Joe, that sounds fantastic. I was thinking in my mind, hey, I can approve anything up to $2,500 without getting other people to sign off. So I said, hey, Joe, let's do it. He said, okay, great. I'll be here on Friday and we'll get this taken care of. And on Thursday, my wife calls and says, hey, Bruce, we need to go out of town. Something's come up. I said, not a problem. I called in my operations manager and said, hey, Tor, Joe is going to come by the parking lot and fill our potholes on the parking lot on Friday. I need to go out of town. I'm not going to be here, and I need you to oversee the project, and I want you to call me if anything comes up, anything. He said, you got it, boss. And so I'm driving on Friday with my wife, and all of a sudden I start thinking about the parking lot and how I hadn't got a call from anyone, and I was thinking, things must be going really great because no news is what? It's good news. It's good news. And so we drove home later that night on that Friday night, and Saturday morning I got up early and I was like, I'm going to drive in and check out the parking lot and talk to the staff before the moving crews get dispatched. And I'm driving into work and I turn the corner and all of a sudden my eyes get so big. I looked over and what do I see? A brand new parking lot. Our company had been transformed overnight. It wasn't what I had imagined. I'd imagined all these little chocolate chip specks all throughout the parking lot smoothed out. But no, this was a brand new black, smooth asphalt parking lot. In fact, it had the yellow stripes painted for all the employees to come and park their cars. And it had a handicap sign over by the front door. And I had two things that came to my mind immediately. Number one, wow, did this really cost $1,000? And the second thought was, I'm getting ready to get fired. And so I pulled into the office and I called Joe and I said, Joe, hey, this looks great, but I can't believe this cost $1,000. He said, Bruce, that didn't cost $1,000. When I was out there, I was filling the potholes and I said, hey, how's it looking? Everybody said, great, keep going. And the total cost on that's going to be about $25,000. You ever get that black cloud that just hovers over your head? That's what happened to me all of a sudden when I thought about telling my boss. And so, of course, I shared that with my boss and we got through it. And here's the three lessons. Number one, you got to plan your work and work your plan. Number two, you've got to communicate with clarity. Make sure your team knows exactly what's going to be done. And number three, failure is not fatal. We learn from our mistakes. That's where the growth is. Hope you enjoyed that.